Science!
She blinded me!
You'll get none of that here. And that is my promise to you.
I guarantee it.
Okay, I'm going to break that promise because it will get a little sciencey here, but, this is this brain, so it'll be creative license. That kind of combobulation and the jumble and just general flotsam and jetsam of mixed up stuff washed on the shore of intelligence and knowledge. And you can just pick out the bits that seem real. I mean, that's how science works, right? What more can you expect? Me!
Science.
But first...
Total.
Eclipse.
Of.
My writing?
Turn around. Let's dig into it.
Ain't no sunshine when she's gone.
These are my moons. We'll get to that. The totality of creative license begins now. I'm about to tell you how a total eclipse happens. Strap in.
Eclipse!
Sun says to Earth, stay with me here. Yo, you don't appreciate me and all I do is give you life. Earth says, what about the droughts? Sun says, you blame me for everything. Out of focus Earth says, I'd love to respond, but I'm so sunburnt my exoskeleton is peeling off like sweaty sheets from a hotel bed. That's provocative. Vitamin D, faded patio furniture, photosynthesis, skin cancer. You get the idea. Enter, this is going to be problematic because I don't have a third hand. They're too close together, but you get the idea. Where's my moon? Where's my moon? That's no moon.
I'm being followed by a moon shadow.
Moon slides into the DMs. Gets between them. This is a very bad graphic. This is how you fail science class. Anyway, the moon, itty bitty. The earth, Uda Buddha. And the sun, Ooga Booga. What I'm suggesting here is, I'm just trying to get across that they're different sizes. This little fella, the moon, with all the moxie and swagger of a little rock with a lot of ambition, just steps in between the two, says, whoa, time out, chill pills all round. Pops in between these two whiners, probably a bit more like this, distance-wise. I'm sure there's an illustration I can use. And because of this little thing called perspective, we get this little thing called totality.
Totally.
No, totality. We are skin tubes down here on Earth in this path of totality.
Totally.
No, we see the arse end, the backside of the moon, from the sun's perspective, as a black disc blocking out the sun. We squeal with delight because we are easily delighted. Sometimes. But point of fact, the totality only occurs for a swathe of people on the Earth at the particular time of the solar eclipse. Not everyone experiences this black disc blocking out the sun. In fact, actual fact, science. So the path of totality that swept across North America, from Mexico through Texas and to Maine, was approximately 115 miles across. That's the total blackout path. Cool.
No sunlight, no sunlight.
The shadow that the moon casts is in two parts. Totality.
Totally?
No, totality strip, which is called the umbra, and the shadow outside of that on either side, which is called the penumbra. That's the partial eclipse. Get it? Got it? Good. Just in case you didn't. Partial eclipse. I shall now use my t-shirt to explain. As you can see on my t-shirt, there's a moon. We are looking at the moon. Between the moon and our vision at this particular moment, on this t-shirt designed by Mike Mitchell, fantastic artist, we see the Norse god Thor wearing some sweet red kicks on a rainbow-farting unicorn flying across the face of the moon, thus obscuring our view of the moon by sliding between it. This would cast a partial shadow on the Earth, thus making this a partial Thor eclipse. Norse science! Don't believe everything you hear on this channel. It's a bit of advice. Anyway, I've lost my moon. There's my moon. This moon. So inspired was I by this little rock. Well, not this little rock. This is an actual rock. It doesn't control the tides or anything. So inspired was I by this little rock that I wrote a piece called Totality is Lit. Let's kick science out the door for a second, like they seem to do everywhere these days, she said snidely and with contempt. Creative license. In the thing I wrote, I imagined this totality to be a welcome opportunity for two old friends, the moon and the sun, to have their occasional meeting face to face without the prying eyes of the earth upon their faces. Creative license. During this event, which, depending where you are, is 4 minutes of totality.
Totally.
They take this opportunity to catch up, as they do every 2 years or so, somewhere on the planet. Okay, so that's a bit sciencey. The next total eclipse will be best viewed in Spain, I think they say. See you there. But the sun talking to the moon, which is what the post was, essentially, that's where the science evaporates, because the sun doesn't talk. It has no face to be meeting face to face. It has no eyes with which to see what's going on in the face of the moon, let alone what's happening on planet Earth, which is something it's complaining to the moon about. But like I said, it's an opportunity for the sun and the moon to gaze at each other's celestial faces and take stock of what's occurred since last they had this private consult. Creative license! To do that requires you to suspend your disbelief, obviously, and imagine these two celestial beings being face to face and being somewhat of an equal size, which they are not, because perspective. The moon and the sun in the solar system are very far away from each other. And let's just say, for argument's sake, that the sun actually had eyes by which to gaze adoringly upon the moon. In reality, what would the sun see if it had binoculars and was looking towards the earth and was trying to pick out the moon in front of it? What would that look like? Take a look at this. This is a photo taken by the Parker Solar Probe in September 2018. This hard-working little probe was on its way toward the sun to do a little solar note-taking, let's say. This is Earth. At the time this photo was taken by the probe, it was a distance, which I shall measure in a unit called paparazzis. That's not science. It was 27 million paparazzis away from Earth. 27 million miles. Now the Earth is 93.171 million paparazzis away from the sun. So the probe, still had some distance to go. And looking back to take that photo, moon small. That's why we have creative license. So even though in the piece they're face to face, they're not, super close.
And you're so far away from me.
They can't see the pores on each other's skin. And in fact, they don't have skin. Creative license. The sun, which I illustrated using this cricket ball, this measures 1.4 million kilometres across. It's pretty big. While the moon, illustrated by this sassy little rock, is 3,474 kilometres across. The sun is roughly 400 times the size of the moon. Fact.
It's also 400 times closer to Earth.
What have you got? You got a perfect match.
But they're good friends. Bookends. Well, that's what I was trying to imply in the piece I wrote, which you should totally read. Imagination. You know who else has imagination? Scientists. But they're so factual. Yeah, but imagination is essentially curiosity with ambition. Astronomy in particular fires up the imagination to wander and explore and figure out what's out there. Why is it out there? What's it gonna do to us?
What you gonna do?
It's investigative. Science searches for answers. Unlike me, I just ask more questions. So scientists have imagination. Which is why, if you were watching the Totality on any kind of live stream,
Totally.
you heard a lot of scientists lose their shit. A lot of people in general, actually. Humans, when daylight turns to night, That's pretty special. Yes, technically you could travel the world and every 2 years you'd be able to see a complete eclipse somewhere in the world. But most people don't go totality chasing, although here's a map of the sowing pattern of all of the umbra paths that you can expect in the future. And some of those scientists may never see another one again. So of course it's exciting. Of course it makes you weepy. The sun is the centre of our universe, and as I said in the piece, it literally holds the solar system together with its gravity. That's pretty impressive. The sun knows everything in its purview. Every little planet, every little rock, every little dying star, every little gas ball. It knows everything intimately, like the moon. Creative license. And it checks in with them from time to time, during eclipses and such. Does a temperature check. Creative license. I'm going to wrap this up by going full circle and going back to perspective. First, the actual perspective of an eclipse. Okay, here comes some science. Quote, when the two elliptical orbits place the moon and the sun at just the right distance and orientation relative to the Earth, the two bodies appear the same size and a total eclipse of the sun occurs. During a total solar eclipse, the moon completely obscures the disk of the sun. In totality.
Totally.
But also, what the eclipse gives us, perspective. Here is a little Fruit Loop Janine talk about perspective and what the eclipse gave to us in those 4 minutes of totality, wherever you were watching it. A total eclipse that plunges daytime into night is a reminder of the wonder of it all. A reminder to look up, to notice, to get some perspective of us in the universe. Little us in a big system. So the totality happened and people lost their shit. Why? Why are they crying? Why are they a whooping and a hollering? Because in that moment of totality, of this tiny thing blocking out the light of a giant thing, we are reminded that we, in our simple little walk-around skin tube lives, are part of something bigger. It puts us in perspective. And maybe that perspective frightens you. I don't know. To be a tiny little speck in the universe that cannot control the things moving around us, and that we can have light just snuffed out, just like that. It came back. Gives us perspective that we are in the universe, and also that there's a lot more about it that we still have to learn. Science will get us there. I'm going to end by saying, every now and again, just look up. Look up. But, don't look straight at the sun. Unless you got those special glasses. Now get back to it. See you next week.